What's up, guys? It's Carson back here on Toxic Gaming today with week 3 of the PPL. We're 0-2 so far on PPL and stuff. They're not going the best for us with the team that we have. It's really unfortunate. I know this is going up again a little later, so some of you might already know the outcome of this battle, but I hope you enjoy anyway. We're going up against David, one of my good friends, and one of my guys who's usually in my front office helping me build and stuff, so he can't help us build this week. But we're going to get up against him and his FC Popplio. His team and everything will be in the description and on the screen, and links to that and stuff. Link to my in-depth, the poker paste for my team. I'm not going to go so in-depth for it right now, but so you guys can see exactly what sets and exactly what I'm bringing, it'll be in description. If you guys want to skip ahead in the video a little ways, about 5 or 10 minutes or so to get to the real battle and not hear any of the team building stuff, by all means, that's okay. But just to run down real quickly against David's team, he does have a stack attack round 1 with a Z Crystal. Really scary. He does also have a Hydreigon, Nidoqueen, Superior, Comfey, Uxie, Keldeo. He had a Mega Glalie, Electric, and then he also had at this time Palossand and Talonflame. So that was something for our team that was really scary. Palossand. I was keep on saying I want to say Talonflame. Palossand was something that was really, really worrisome when I was building for him. And I had a feeling David would bring Comfey and or Stakataka and or Hydreigon. Any of those ones, because Comfey he fucking loves. Stakataka to be, the guy who gets kills with Stakataka who took it round 1. And Hydreigon just because it was a really good mon. That's the stuff I was kind of expecting him to bring. But we see on our screen, he brought the Electric, the baby eel. He brought the Palossand, the thing we were really scared of. He brought a Superior, which I just had to be careful that he couldn't sweep me with it. But the big thing about that was, too, that anytime I had a Selgor in, or anytime I had Superior in, I could bring in the Selgor if it wasn't Scarfed Superior and threaten it no matter what Superior it was, which is really nice. He did bring the Mega Glalie. I kind of expected that because Ice Shard does some pretty decent hours to my team. Then he has Keldeo and Hydreigon as well, 2 big threats in any way that they usually are. So his team was pretty threatening, and I was kind of worried about what the eel would do. I had a Selgor, which is basically, just to go basic stuff with it, a Selgor is our Sash lead, a Selgor with Bug Buzz, Encore, Spikes, and Energy Ball. Basic, I want to guarantee a layer of Spikes up, if not guarantee 2, and if I can trap any setup mons and Encoring and going into something else to threaten them out, that'd be ideal, specifically our Latias and Chandelure, which I'll get to what they are in a minute. And then Bug Buzz just overall is really nice against his team. Energy Ball covers the other holes that Bug Buzz doesn't. I underestimated how much the Selgor was going to be useful in this game, as you'll see in the game how much I kind of played not as aggressively with the Selgor. Next up, we have Lando T. Bret Hart is here, and he is our Z-Flying Bret Hart with Substitute and Rock Polish, and then Earthquake as basic stuff. Basically, if I could get a sub up and force him to break my sub, I get a free turn of Rock Polish. Lando could do some very, very scary things to his team with just the combination of Fly and Earthquake. If I could keep that sub up, it forces his Glalie to use that turn, or possibly to break it with Ice Shard. It forces him into Glalie after the sub and stuff like that, and then I could Z-Fly the Glalie if I need to before even setting up Rock Polish to try to get that either chipped down or gone. That was the best idea there. Next up, we have Lisa the Latias, which is our Life Orb Latias with Dragon Pulse, Psychic, Surf, and Roost. Basically, I tried to build the team around this Latias kind of doing a lot of the work. I want to be able to spam a Life Orb move without having to, or spam moves with Life Orb without having to switch out that I would have to from Draco drops. So I decided to go with Dragon Pulse regular, and then Surf, just as something to hit the Keldeo and Talonflame if it happened to be here. Something that's kind of a thing I could actually hit both of those with pretty hard. Next up, I have Chandelure, which is original and everything like that, which is Scarf Chandelure with Fire Blast, Energy Ball, Shadow Ball, and Trick. And Trick was going to be a lot more handy than I thought now that I saw Eel on the other side. Is if I could trick that Eviolite away from Eel, even if I give it a Scarf, it's still a baby Eel. It's not going to do much, so I could actually do that. If I don't end up tricking Scarf away, that's perfectly fine as well. As Shadow Ball and Fire Blast cover a decent amount of stuff on his team. Energy Ball cleans up other slots. I really don't need to click Energy Ball at times. I'm hoping not to, but it's there if I need it. Next up is Drapion Carl Anderson, which is a kind of throwback, I guess, to Gen 5 Drapion, I think. with max HP and like Careful Natured, a special tank Drapion, with knockoff, Poison Jab, Taunt, and Stomping Tantrum. I'll get into that in a minute. But basically, this Drapion, the first 3 moves are to remove items, take special hits as needed, and threaten Comfey if it was there with Poison Jab, and then Taunt so that he couldn't get up rocks, he couldn't set up subs, he couldn't set up in general. That's what I was hoping to do with this Drapion. But basically, the thing about this Drapion that was interesting was the Stomping Tantrum. And what I wanted to try to do was something I was really, really scared of was Trick Room Stack Attacka. And basically, it would be if I saw Comfey, it was going to be quick knockoff first turn, see if he switches in Stack Attack on this predicted Poison Jab. If he does, great, I could remove an item or see if it's Z Crystal. And then later, when I get Drapion back in against Comfey, I can freely spam Poison Jab, because if I kill Comfey, that's one thing dead. But if he does predict that and go into Stack Attacka to basically waste my Poison Jab turn, I can Stomping Tantrum the follow-up turn, the turn that he would probably quick Trick Room, and Stomping Tantrum turns into like a 175 base power, thanks to its, like, if your other move is ineffective at all to the opponent. So it's already stronger than an Earthquake, and I think it does a 97% max to I think it's Brave Natured Stomping Tantrum, or Brave Natured Stack Attacka it would do that too. And then if I had the knockoff damage from before, especially if I knocked off an item before, it would be able to OHKO, potentially have the chance to OHKO a Stack Attacka, which would be really, really interesting and really fun to do. But as we see, he didn't bring Stack Attacka, so sadly the meme can't be done fully as I wanted to. But it's there in case we decide to be fun. And then lastly, I know this is kind of gone long, lastly we have Rotom Wash, Kenny Omega, doing basic Rotom Wash things, Volt Switching, Hydro Pumping, and Defogging. This week's status of choice for Rotom was T-Wave, as with mons like Keldeo and Superior, and Hydreigon specifically, and even on his team, even against Talonflame, having speed control on those mons would be extremely helpful. And even a mon like Comfey, having the speed control on that and making it have to flip coins to be able to move, really ideal. So things like that, I was like, that seemed to be the best status of choice for Rotom to throw around this week. But without any further ado, you can see that he starts off with his Baby Eel, and I start off with the Aselgor, so let's get right on into the battle. Okay, guys, he's sending the challenge of Pokemon Trainer David. Here's a nice little black shirt and pink shorts there. I think they're pink. But as we saw, I led off with a Aselgor, like I was saying, and we're basically going to lead off Spikes. And he decided to lead off with the Electric, the Baby Eel in the beginning, and I was like, okay, he'll probably Volt around a little bit, which is fine and well and good. I don't really care what he does to me. And I get my Spikes set up, I get that going, and we see that he actually clicks Toxic turn 1, gets the landing, and so now Aselgor is not really too happy as that, nullifies the Sash. Sorry, taking a drink from McDonald's cup. But also just that if I need a Aselgor in later, I need to be wary of that Toxic. But he decides here to switch out his little worm, which is, all fine, well, and good. And he goes into his Robin Sparkles. I appreciate the nickname, the Sandcastle in the sand. And I encored, hoping that he would stay in and, try to go for Thunderbolt or something, or go for the Volt Switch, and I could lock him in the Toxic. But that was unfortunate. I couldn't do that. So he actually pulls the double back out with the castle, probably expecting that I had, Energy Ball here. Wanted to scout to see what moves I actually had on Aselgor. He knows 3 of them now, and 4th one being Stab. Pretty much knows my set now, which is unfortunate. We can see this Eel is fucking tanking things with that Eviolite. So I decided to get Aselgor out here, use him for later, and I bring in good old Carl Anderson. I see with Thunderbolt damage, my especially defensive Drapion, it does not give a shit about anything this Eel wants to do. Unless he had T-Wave, I really didn't care to stay in against this thing. And with him switching out here, I was thinking maybe he only has Toxic for status. He goes into his Keldeo, and I knew I was clicking Knockoff. I was spamming Knockoff at this point. Really, Drapion's cool thing of running Stomping Tantrum wasn't going to work, so his backup stuff was going to be removing items from any mon. And I don't care if I give Keldeo an attack boost. I don't think David, against my team, would go with physically offensive Keldeo. But the attack boost, I didn't really care. I didn't really want to take the Secret Sword damage this early, or a Scald Burn, so I decided to go into Rotom thing. I didn't care if it got burned or not. And he actually does go for the Scald here. I'm really happy I didn't take that chance for the Drapion to get burned, but Not even Rotom gets burned in this game, right now at least. And does take leftovers, and I'm guessing he was going to switch out here, so I was like, okay, what can I really do? He does switch out and goes back into this fucking eel, so he's leaning on this eel as a special defense wall. I Volt Switched. I didn't think he was going to bring in Palossand against me, as if he does nullify my Volt Switch, fine. I follow up with a Hydro and do hella damage. So I decided to go back out here, as I see he probably can't touch my Drapion with this eel. I'm going to just spam knockoff again. If he goes into even in the Keldeo, I'm fine with him going into the Keldeo. I don't remove an item, but I am lowering the health, which is important against his Keldeo, especially for my team. And he does bring it back in, brings on the spikes, and extra little bit of knockoff damage and everything against this Keldeo. Bringing it under half, which right now is really crucial for me, as it lets Latias do some really nice damage to this, as my Latias isn't EV'd to outspeed this Keldeo. I didn't realize that till mid-match, about this point. So I decided here to switch into Latias, because I was like, I'll scare him. And this is when I kind of noticed that my speed was wrong. And he does go for the Secret Sword this turn, and it really didn't matter what move he was going to go for. I didn't think he would go for Icy Wind. He did have it, but I didn't think he would go for it. And he does switch out Keldeo here, being afraid of my Latias outspeeding him, as you do, but he doesn't know that I don't outspeed him. I didn't even know I didn't outspeed him. But I decided to just go right for a Psychic and get some decent chunk damage off on whatever came in. As you can see, the damage from Life Orb Latias is no joke, and Lisa is right now tearing him apart, which is really nice. And especially getting this castle out of my way. This means he doesn't get his rocks up, he doesn't have any type of ghost shenanigans for me later, doesn't have ground shenanigans in there. I'm okay with that. And we see him go into the baby eel, which is, again, I'm thinking this eel has the stuff to be able to take on Latias from the health it is, so I want to get Drapion back in here and try to knock it off. He goes for the U-turn, so now he shows me that he has U-turn. I'm like, okay, so that's what he decided to go over Volt Switch. Probably the better of the two options, just in general, as I have the Lando, but he now gets the upper advantage going into Hydra here. Now here, I was expecting him to click Earth Power, and I could take one Earth Power with my investment. He actually goes for the Dark Pulse, predicting that I would probably go into Latias on the Earth Power, and he flinched. I went for a knockoff. Again, Drapion's job is to remove items in any way, shape, or form. Didn't happen. He goes for the Earth Power here, and even after that Dark Pulse damage, I still do live the Earth Power, and I will able to knock off this Hydreigon's item. We found out it's Black Glasses. I was really scared it was Scarf Hydreigon. That was one thing I was really scared of, and now I knew that Latias, after the knockoff, could outspeed it. He goes for the Dark Pulse second time. Again, right here I stayed in, even though I knew he had Earth Power. I knew he had all that. I wanted to get some damage off on this with Poison Jab, but at the same time, if he would have killed Drapion, I just go into Latias. I was okay with, at this point, Drapion going down. So he does go for the Earth Power here. Even with Drapion going down and the Electric, the baby eel still having its Eviolite, I felt like I could power through the Eviolite as we kept going from the health it was at now. So here I go out into my good old Latias. This is where I wanted to go into the offense if we check this thing as much as I can. And he does switch out back into the baby eel. Again, the health that's at, I feel like I can two-hit it with Dragon Pulse to be able to do some heavy damage on this thing. And we can see the Dragon Pulse does a decent chunk to where it's possible that Psychic later will be able to do it. I decided to roost here, as this seemed like an opportunity. Like, if he Toxic to me, that would suck. But I thought maybe he would try to U-turn out or Thunderbolt me to get damage. And he actually does go for the U-turn. I didn't know if he was going to Toxic me here or not. But I wanted to try to get as much health back on this Latias as possible, and this seemed like the best time to do it. And now he goes out into the Superior, and if I wouldn't have roosted, I wouldn't have had the health here to guarantee to live a Dragon move from this thing, so I'm really not scared against it right now. He pulls the double back into the Worm, and because I wasn't scared of this thing and I just clicked Psychic as a strong move, I went, we can take care of this Worm now. Like, that was why I was kind of okay with Drapion going down, is we could still take care of the Worm. I think he was also scouting if I had Ice Beam or not. And so with me just having Psychic, I don't think he had any reason to be afraid of me one-shotting the Serp. So he brings Serp back in and just goes for the Dragon Pulse. And I was still very confident in that I could live it. I believe he needed the most max roll to kill me with it. And Modest and everything, which he couldn't do, what I didn't think he could do. So I just stayed in, click Psychic, get the heavy damage. I was hoping for the kill, but it stayed alive, which is fine. I decided to keep Latias in the back for later, as I could threaten Hydra whenever I wanted to, and I can go into Chandelure here, take a Dragon Pulse and OHKO it with, or kill it, not OHKO it, but kill it with Shadow Ball back. If it was a Scarf Superior and it's locked in the Dragon Pulse, as we can see, I can take 2 of those easy. So here I'm able to just Shadow Ball and kill it. We see this is not a Scarf Serp like I was originally scared of. So Chandelure gets a good kill here. And really nice to see Chandelure doing some work. And here he goes out into the Hydra again. And now I'm knowing, like, okay, I can't take him out with Shadow Ball from this range. So I need to weaken this thing just so that I can take him out with that. And here I decided to go into my Selgor. Now, this was a very strange turn of events in my eye. And that's that David decided to now, with his Hydreigon, quick substitute. And I assume that now basically his Hydreigon was built to sub up and then kind of do some damage to us as a team. And as he and I talked afterwards, he was trying to sub around this Aselgor and deal with Aselgor later, so that everything Aselgor could do, basically Hydreigon could take out this Aselgor before and then sub up later with it. That was kind of what the goal was for him with his substitute, which I commend him for that. Like, I might have been fucked if this thing got behind a sub and just wrecked the rest of my team. Like, I might have really been horribly destroyed. But when I brought Aselgor in here, I wasn't really looking to get the jump, per se, on this Hydreigon. I figured I could live maybe one, like, neutral hit, maybe an unstab hit. I could live with this. Or if on this turn, like, he roosted instead of substitute, I could come in and threaten him that way. Or I ended up sacking off a Selgor to it and then bring in Latias as a better, as I felt, a better offensive check to this. Basically, that's what I had in my own head. And that was because at this point, I realized that Latias didn't outspeed Keldeo and stuff like that. So Latias' main job was to handle this Hydreigon and only the Hydreigon. And, Aselgor got my spikes up. It did a little bit of damage early, and that's really all I needed to do. And I didn't see as much of a need to keep Aselgor around as much as Latias around. And with David now clicking the substitute, as you know, Bug Buzz does go through subs, so this put him in a really, really strange position, as he was kind of going before with me not bringing in Aselgor in during the Drapion sequence, when he was just Earth Powering, Dark Pulsing over and over again to kill Drapion. And I had basically sacked off Drapion by that point, was willing to sack it off again there. So maybe with all of that, David had got a little over-predicting of, like, okay, he won't bring in Aselgor now, I should be free to sub. And this happened to be the wrong moment for that, as when he subs, I'm still free to click Bug Buzz so that it goes through, and I'm free to click it on anything else on his team. He here decides to save the Hydreigon for later, and not just let that go down, and instead let the Glalie take the Bug Buzz, which is going to do a lot of fucking damage to the Glalie, especially, after a little bit of stuff from Spikes. And due to my Aselgor's HP being at, I think, like 76, he needed to be adamant and a high roll, or like the maxest of max roll. No, I think he needed to be adamant max roll with Ice Shard from a Mega Glalie to actually kill a Aselgor. And if he didn't click Ice Shard, he was dead to Bug Buzz. I think the Jolly Glalie, which he wasn't going to kill me anyway. And so it would have been close to less than 9, but it still wouldn't have killed. So I do get the Bug Buzz kill on the Glalie and get that, out of the way for Lando potentially. But the Selgor does go down to the poison. So Baby Eel does technically get a kill. And I decided to go into Rotom here, even though he only had the Hydra and Keldeo left, both of which, if my Latias was EV speeded right, I would have been able to take out. But I went with Rotom because I knew that my Latias could outspeed, but he didn't. And so here I decided to Volt Switch with Rotom. I was hoping he was just going to attack me and not sub up again. And then when the Volt Switch didn't break the sub, I went into Latias here, knowing that Latias could take the sub out, at minimum take the sub out, and then die to the Hydra, and then Chandelure could come in and pick it off after that. The Hydra was low enough, especially, in the barely red, to where spamming Shadow Ball would kill. I might have been able to click Energy Ball and guarantee a kill on the Keldeo, but I believe the Keldeo was under half. It was going to take the Spikes damage anyway. That Shadow Ball should be able to be fine. So Latias does go down here. I could have gone right into Latias and kind of avoided that, but I was really worried he would go Keldeo instead, and then I would have to switch Latios out anyway. But here I bring in the Selgor or not Selgor, Chandelure, and basically it's time to spam Shadow Ball with Scarf Chandelure Day. Like, we get that little bit of damage that needed to finish off the Hydra. Really nice that this, if this thing would have been Scarfed, we would have got rid of it early, but it wasn't anyway. And same thing with the Keldeo. If it was Scarfed, we would have gotten rid of that early thanks to Drapion. Two things that Drapion knocked off. Was really nice to have the items gone, even though they weren't Scarfs. Really nice to have those items gone. And the Shadow Ball does pick up the final kill on Keldeo, and with that, we do win 3-0 over David. I think it was Lando T, Rotom, and Chandelure left. Lando didn't even fucking hit the field, which I was very surprised about. I never had a chance really to bring Lando in. I felt like that was like very, very safe. I probably could have brought him in against Eel, but at the same time, Eel could have easily been packing HP Ice to take on Lando. It had the Toxic, and I really didn't want to... there was never a point where I thought I could bring Lando in and get it Toxic. If I was able to sub on the Toxic turn, that would have been great. But bringing it in and getting Toxic like that doesn't do well for, a setup Sweepermon, especially... Even though it's not burn, it still doesn't do well for me. I guess, really, none of his other Mons gave Lando an opportunity to actually come in and set up. Everything else had a chance of having an Ice move or a chance of outspeeding, stuff like that. So thankfully, Lando didn't need to really come in this game. But the real MVP, really, I would say, is either Latias, good old Lisa, or Chandelure. Chandelure for the amount of kills, and Latias for just the offensive pressure it put, taking down the Eel. The entire game, Dave and I talked about it, he was playing as, as if someone's EV'd their Latias, right, to where it outspeeds a Keldeo. Like, you can't prep for stuff like that, and I feel bad for that, but that's just me fucking up in my own head. The Selgor play, that turn, I was, like, by no stretch of the imagination am I trying to be, like, next level plays with the Selgor there. I was willing to sack a Selgor off, because I could see that Latias plus Chandelure could finish off the rest of the game there. And then help with Rotom and Lando there is needed. Rotom was a little bit damaged, Lando was full health. As whenever Glalie left, Lando was clear. So it was like, I saw other options that a Selgor didn't have to be the thing to win there. So that's why I was willing to sack it off. But anyway, still good game to David. Was our first win of the season, so I'm glad I was against a friend and stuff like that. I know his side of the battle went up really early compared to ours, so make sure you go check out his side and everything as well. His links and everything will be in the description. Next week we fight, I believe, Rogue and his AFC Wormadam. That's where it is. These guys with the fucking letters in their name, I get them all confused. But the AFC Wormadam, Rogue, our Jenner, he's the one who's been genning all my teams for me pretty much. I think except for a couple, which were like Jack, Gray Ice, one of my good friends, or Cinder or something like that. Then I think Nick, Reckless Bad, did some of mine as well. So Rogue's a good dude, and he can't gen our team to know our team next week. So we'll be fighting him then. Thank you guys for coming out and hanging out with us and watching the Bewears get our first win in PPL. Well, since last season. Since a long time last season. But anyway, thank you guys for coming out. I'm Carson, this is Toxic Gaming. And as always, you guys stay toxic. We'll see you guys.